Welcome to AGORACOM, the Small Cap Epicenter, and AGORACOM TV, a daily, fast-paced, edgy show that brings you the best press releases out of the small cap world at the open so you can hopefully profit from them and maybe even find your next great small cap investments. Tuesday, November the 13th, I've got 5 great press releases for you. But first up, what I want to report on is a continuation to the report made yesterday on Jean-Francois Tardif out of Sprott Asset Management, who called for $200 barrel of oil. Well, someone else has also chimed in and agreeing with him, and that's none other than Jim Rogers, who's the co-founder of the Quantum Fund, along with billionaire investor George Soros. He came out yesterday, and this is what he has to say. He's looking for a bull market in commodities, especially grains, metals, and oil. Oil, he says, has to go to $150 and $200 because, quote, nobody's been discovering oil. He expects a lot of that bull market to be driven by China, India, Pakistan, and Vietnam, which totals about 3 billion people. He also says, expect setbacks to occur. No bull market no bull market takes place without some setbacks. So in the short term, anything can happen. But in the long term, he says, the long-term picture is clear. He's moving all his assets as fast as he can out of U.S. dollar denominations. He's looking to be out in the next few weeks or months. He says that right now the U.S. economy is either in recession or about to go into recession. Long term, what he likes in terms of currencies are the Swiss franc, Japanese yen, and the Chinese yuan. So what you've got here in a period of 48 hours is 2 significant fund managers with proven track records that are now calling for $200 barrels of oil. So this is something you've got to take seriously and maybe even start incorporating as part of your investment strategy. Look that up on the web, but those are 2 pretty good names, and I tend to listen when people like that have something to say. Let's switch back now to actual news out of companies. We've got Versatile Systems, trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol VV as well for our viewers in the UK. They trade on the AIM under the stock symbol VVS. They reported their Q1 numbers, and they reported some pretty big numbers, but what they also reported is a share buyback. I want to talk about the end. Revenue, $12.6 million versus about $14.5 million for Q1 last year. Now, looks like a dip, but in fact they reported record deferred revenues of about $7.5 million. So what looks like happened is they got the sales but weren't able to bring them in under the quarter. So I really wouldn't read too much into the drop in revenues, especially when deferred revenues are way up. Gross profit, just under $3.1 million. That's compared to just under $3 million last year, so it's up about $100,000. Good sign. Net loss, they did suffer a loss of $56,000, turns about 0 cents per share, so not significant. That compares last year to $137,000 profit, but the company did significantly increase their R&D because they're looking at improving some of their products and generating greater revenue long-term. So short-term pain, long-term gain, and you can see that in a quote here from John Hardy, Chairman and CEO of the company, who said, "We've doubled our R&D expenditure, which has enabled us to increase functionality for retailers using HSBC, City Financial, and Wells Fargo as banking partners." So obviously they're looking at this paying off in the long term. We like companies that plan that way. They had cash and cash equivalents of about $5.5 million at the end of the quarter. That's a big number, so they're pretty secure. But here's what's really important. They announced in a separate press release about an hour later that they're in fact initiating a share buyback. And why do companies initiate share buybacks? Obviously, management feels that the company's stock is undervalued. In this case, they're trading at just 26 cents, which is way off its high of 92 cents. If you take a look at the chart, it just keeps on falling and falling and falling. A few short minutes of due diligence in the morning, you can't get the complete picture, so do your own due diligence. But if they're reporting these kind of numbers, these kind of partners, maybe it's just a case of the market's not understanding what Versatile is delivering. So maybe a good investment opportunity. Now, switching back to resources, it's no wonder after hearing the comments of Jim Rogers, the next 4 press releases are focusing on the resources sector. So let's go first to Rambler Metals, trades on the TSX Venture under the stock symbol RAB, as well again for our UK viewers, RMM on the AIM exchange. They announced their latest 2 drill intersections from their ongoing surface drilling program, and there's some pretty big numbers. Hole 20F returned 7.45 feet of 2.41% copper, and that's on their 1807 zone. In addition, hole 20G returned 15.42 feet of 4.1% 4.16% copper, excuse me, with 4.5 grams per ton of gold. Included in that was 1.35 feet of 3.7% copper and 35.2 grams of gold per ton. George Ogilvie, vice president of the company, stated, once again, in the 1807 zone, we've delivered significant and promising results. Specifically, hole 20G is of particular interest, not only for its width, but for its nearly ounce per ton of gold intersection in a quartz vein on the lower contact of the massive sulfide. So it goes to show you that they're definitely happy about these results. They're trading at $1.11 right now, which is below the 52-week high of $1.70. Next up, Arian Silver, TSX Venture Exchange, AGQ, AIM, AGQ, and for our viewers in Frankfurt, stock symbol is I3A. They announced significant results from their Tepal project. They announced that drilling has encountered long intercepts of significant gold-copper mineralization below and along strike from the previously marked historic resource. Some pretty bold statements here. The results indicate that historical resource estimates that came out of Hecla, Tecominco, and Inco may have significantly understated the potential of the Tepal project. They drilled a number of holes deeper than those previously drilled by the trio, and the holes have confirmed the existence of gold-copper mineralization to a depth of 250 meters. Pretty significant. Specifically, what we like, hole AS07004 was drilled on the north zone and intersected, listen to this, 187 meters of 0.86 grams of gold per ton, including a higher grade portion of 101 meters grading 1.32 grams of gold per ton. Pretty significant number. Company's trading at 44.5 cents in the lower end of its 1 year trading range. Next up, Rainy River Resources trades on the TSX Venture Sim on the stock symbol RR. They announced assay results for 9 holes in their property located in northwestern Ontario. Here are their highlights. They got 2 different zones. It looks like the ODM zone, hole 181, drilled. Listen to the intersected. Hear this, 37.5 meters, grading 1.99 grams of gold, including 11.5 meters, grading 5.37 grams of gold. This extended by about 110 meters west with hole number 196, which intersected 6 meters, grading 3.5 grams of gold per ton. Now, hole number 195 had 2 separate intervals. On the upper zone, it was 12 meters, grading 2.04 grams of gold per ton, and on the lower zone, 25 meters, grading 2.55 grams of gold per ton, including 8 meters that graded around 5.5 grams of gold. The company is trading at 485. They're at the upper end of their 52-week trading range. If you take a look at their stock chart over the last year, it's a roller coaster. It takes some pretty steep dips and climbs, but nonetheless, they're at the high end of their 52-week trading range. And finally, last, Anglo Swiss Resources trades on the TSX Venture under the stock symbol ASW. For friends in the U.S. on the OTC under ASWRF, and out of Germany on the Berlin Exchange under AMO. Full disclosure, Anglo Swiss is an AGORACOM client. However, the stock has been climbing significantly as of late. Even yesterday, the company took a bit of a dip intraday with all gold juniors taking a dip, but managed to climb back and end off even for the day. So definite strength on big volume for Anglo Swiss. Looks like a lot of investors are looking for results out of their drilling program. So what they report here are drill results for drill hole AK0703, which is testing a 300 meter wide by 400 meter deep IP chargeability anomaly on their 100% owned Kenville mine property. The Kenville site is 10 kilometers west of Nelson, British Columbia. That's in the West Kootenay region of southern British Columbia. It's a prolific area of numerous mineral showings and past producing mines, including the Kenville gold mine as far back as the late 1800s. These are initial observations. What I need to tell you here is that drill core samples are actually being sent to an accredited assay lab for both gold assays and multi-element ICP analysis. But what we do know is this: induced polarization and geochemical anomalous zones are persistent along at least listen to how big this is: 1,000 meters of north-south strike, 700 meters of east-west, and depth measured to 400 meters. And this is going to provide numerous drill targets for their Phase 2 drilling program. Visual examination of the core so far, before it got sent off to the lab, indicates mineralization and alteration styles that are consistent with an alkylic porphyry copper gold deposit type. Leonard Denard, the company's president CEO, is actually going to conduct a Beyond the Press release right on AGORACOM, which goes into layman's terms and be able to describe in layman's terms what these results really mean, because as we all know, sometimes these results have to get really technical in order to comply with TSX standards. That's a wrap for the day. As always, come by our blog, and if you got any extra information you can provide, that would be great. If you look for more great small cap companies, go to the AGORACOM marketplace, where we've got more than 75 companies divided by industry and exchange, so you can find those that are best suited for your portfolio style. That's a wrap for the day. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.